So, my name is Inanna, and I have a story of transformation on Dr. Joe Dispenza's YouTube, as well as my husband, Scott. We were to give grant recipients for June of 2024, and we both had just amazing stories. I'm making this video now as an update for what's happened in our lives in the last year. And the truth, a lot has changed. I don't want to say too much has changed, but a lot. I have a nonprofit and I basically help people in crisis. Earlier this month, I was helping someone who had been living in her apartment without a working bathroom for a couple of months. And then before that, I was helping someone with a brain injury get services. So that desire within me to help others is pretty ingrained. That being said, the only way I know how to be in my own life is authentic and real, which means I'll tell you the good and the bad. I never shied away from sharing the parts of Scott's journey with his brain injury. If you want to see it, you can go to TikTok and just go into, I think it's called the TBI Life, and you'll see it. There's videos of me crying, sad. There's videos of me advocating care for him, fighting. I look very different. About 150 pounds heavier, and I have purple hair, and I look completely exhausted. But that was me, and that was our life. Even our move to LA was precipitated by his workers' comp neurologist telling me if I didn't get him to UCLA to be part of the brain injury program, he wasn't going to survive. Honestly, this is just a hard update to make. I have a lot of powerful emotions. And then I have some that I've already worked through that I have a lot of peace about. If you have watched our other videos, you know that Scott and I started dating when I was 14, he was 15. I got married in high school. It's the only guy I've ever kissed. That was the life, right? And then in 2018, I stopped being a wife and I started being a caregiver. And the truth is, I had just made peace with that being the rest of my life. Just a caregiver. But then several things happened at once. 16th, I turned 50, and that was kind of a big birthday. I was actually able to spend it at the Progressive with Dr. Joe and a lot of Dr. Joe people, so that was really fun. By continuing the work, I had the question, is there more? Could there be more? And the one thing I was certain of was after spending the last 7 years as a caregiver, it was time to go within me, and it was time to find a way to heal. I know it's very hard for people who have never been around someone with a brain injury to understand the constant vigilance that is required and the constant sacrifice, because your life isn't yours anymore. Think about it like caring for someone with dementia. That means that you are always in a state of hypervigilance and you're always planning 4, 5, 6 moves ahead because you never know what you're going to have, what you're going to run up against. And Scott and I had been married 25 years before his brain injury. So it's like one hit to the head, he became a radically different person. And there were twice I was detained because he had a seizure, hit his head, and told the hospital I had hurt him. So I got detained. There was another time that we were driving down the interstate and he looked at me and said, I hate you, you fucking bitch. And he opened the door and tried to jump out the car. So I have a lot of crazy stories about the things he did during those first 3 years when his brain was on fire. And I will never blame him for the things that he did. It was a raging brain. It wasn't his fault. But the truth is that it was time to heal. And that meant looking at the fairly horrific abuse that I experienced pretty much every day for those first 3 years. And I want to be clear, it's not his fault. You know, his brain was on fire, but there was a lot of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse that happened, almost daily for, 2.5+ years. But all I could do was fight to save his life because I loved him. I loved who he was before his brain injury, and he was the father of my children. I mean, that's what you do, right? You fight. Until March of this year, when I knew that it was time to stop fighting and I needed to go within and start healing and changing from the things that I had just pushed down to survive those first 3 years. So after the LA Progressive, I scheduled myself to go alone to the 7-day event in Dallas. And yeah, I pretty much hate Dr. Joe right now. I don't mean that. I don't hate you, Dr. Joe. I love you a lot, but you blew my life the fuck up, man. I mean, I knew it would blow up a little bit, but never could have imagined this. And everyone at Dr. Joe's team, the med team, everyone is amazing. And so, they knew me because of Scott and because of all the care he needs whenever he attends a retreat. So the first thing I did when I got there was I reached out to the head of medical and I let her know. I let her know that I was scared, because when you're caregiving, especially for someone with a brain injury, you have to be in a place of self-regulation with your emotions pretty much all the time. But what happens whenever you're not in the role of caregiving and you're there to heal this, to change into someone it didn't happen to, and what happens if those emotions explode out of you? I was a little worried I was going to be the one in the fetal position on the floor, unable to get up. And although that did eventually happen, it wasn't until the very last day. So let me tell you, I did not break until the last meditation of the last day, which I find funny. However, backtrack a little bit. So the med team, the main nurse, Casey, she decided to put me right by her table because I do have narcolepsy with cataplexy and we were afraid of me falling or whatever. And so she sat me right by her. So I didn't get a lot of those typical interactions that you get at the events, discussing the teachings with other people, which is okay for me because I've been to several events. I've read Supernatural. I've watched Rewired 1,000 times. So I just, discussed it quietly with myself. So it's nerves that fire together, wire together. And the only moment that matters is the generous present moment. I got that. Like I said, I didn't break until the very last meditation, the very last day. And I wished I could have broken before then. Maybe would have had more time for processing, but it happened the way it was supposed to. And my apologies to those that attended the Dallas 7-day, because the meditation, I broke at the end, so that thing had to go on forever because I was the one in the back corner sobbing hysterically. But that Rumi quote about it's the cracks where the light gets in. It's when you break that allows you to become someone new, to make art out of the broken pieces. That's what happened. So stay tuned for part 2.